Welcome to this presentation on AP Classroom resources, and most specifically, the personal progress checks and the progress dashboard. My name is Claire Lorenz, and I work on the AP instruction team at the College Board. We really appreciate you joining us today. So this is one of several presentations on AP Classroom resources in which we're going to do a deep dive into the instructional tools the AP program has designed to support AP teachers of our math and computer science courses. These resources can help you provide the practice and the support your students need regardless of where you are during the school year and how instruction is being delivered. So without any further ado, let's get started with this presentation on personal progress checks and the progress dashboard. So if you've joined us for any of our other presentations, you know that we like to talk about our AP instructional resources as providing support for teaching and learning no matter where you are in the instructional cycle. So whether you're planning your course, teaching your individual lessons, having students practice what they've learned, assessing student progress as they go from unit to unit in the course, getting feedback on your students' performance or giving feedback to your students on their performance, there is an AP instructional resource aligned to each one of those stages in the instructional cycle. For the purposes of this particular presentation, we are going to be focused on the last three stages. That's the assess, getting feedback, and giving feedback. And we'll talk about how personal progress checks can help you assess student progress in terms of learning course content and skills as you go from unit to unit, how you can get feedback on your overall class's performance as you progress through the course, and then how students can get their feedback based on their performance on the personal progress checks. Let's start by just answering the question, what are personal progress checks? Well, personal progress checks are full form assessments that provide students with unit-wide formative assessment opportunities. They have both multiple choice and free response questions that assess students' progress of learning course content and skills for each unit. So it should be mentioned here that personal progress checks are a full assessment, but they're formative. They're meant to meet students where they are in a particular year. So they will start at a more basic level in Unit 1, and then they will get increasingly more difficult as you go through other units of the course and students learn additional course content and skills. The personal progress checks provide the opportunity to get feedback and give feedback. So, in other words, you'll be able to get feedback on your class's performance, and then also students will be able to get their own feedback as well. A short note here, personal progress checks are meant to be used at the end of each unit, while topic questions are meant to be used throughout each unit. So in other words, as each topic is being taught within the unit. So topic questions are within the unit and personal progress checks are at the end of the unit. The questions themselves are actually formed in a very particular way and a very similar way. Are going to assess the topic skill pairings that you see in the course and exam description, or CED, for your course. But the topic questions are meant to be given as you teach each individual topic, whereas the personal progress check kind of bundle all of that together and assess the full scope of topic and skills for a singular unit at the same time. If you'd like to learn more about our topic questions, make sure that you watch our presentation on that particular resource itself. The progress dashboard is the means by which students and teachers can get feedback. The class progress dashboard helps teachers identify common common student misunderstandings and develop targeted supports on a class-wide, small group, or individual student level. They can allow you as teachers to differentiate instruction and make adjustments throughout the year as needed. The class progress dashboard is meant to show you kind of an overall, like longitudinal report on how students are progressing from unit to unit throughout the course so that you can determine, are students improving, are they kind of stuck, are they moving backwards in some way, and then you can use that information to help you figure out how you'll either remediate course content learning and skill learning or provide additional supports as you move through the rest of the course. The student progress dashboard empowers students to take ownership of their learning. So it will highlight for students their own individual areas of growth and then also highlight areas where students may need additional practice. So you as a teacher will have a class progress dashboard, and then students will have their own individual versions that only tells them about their progress. So like we like to do in all of these presentations, we're going to go live into AP Classroom. I just want to say right off the bat, as we bring up our login page for AP Classrooms, you may hear me refer to personal progress checks as just progress checks or PPCs. Those are all the same thing. So just in case you hear those acronyms throughout, please keep in mind that they all refer to the same resource. I'm going to bring up my AP Classroom login page right here. So I'm at myap.collegeboard.org. That's myap.collegeboard.org. And I am going to submit here. And I'm going to be taken to a personalized homepage of AP Central. I won't be in AP Classroom just yet. If you're logging in with your username and password, you'll be taken to a personalized homepage of AP Central that is curated to you. So you will see icons for the courses that you are course authorized to teach or that you have started the course audit process for. If you only teach one course, let's say you only teach AP Calculus AB, you will see that. If you happen to teach Computer Science A and AP Calc BC, you'll see the two of those at the same time. If you teach more than two, you will see icons for all three of those. So for the purposes of this course, I'm actually, or this demo, I'm going to go down to AP Statistics. And we will log into AP Classroom here. I'm going to click on Go to AP Classroom. And I will now be taken to the home page of AP Classroom proper. So I'll be entering AP Classroom now. While we're waiting for this page to load, I do want to make my usual plug for using the help menu within AP Classroom. Our AP Classroom team has really done an incredible job to make this as robust as possible. It's under the little help menu up here, and there is a teacher version and there is a student version. I've queued them up already. So if I go to the teacher version here, I'm going to see this teacher user guide. It will always give you the most recent additions to AP Classroom or recent improvements by date and what that improvement was. Then you will see the quick start videos, just in case you want to see a different perspective or you want a really tight, short button pushing tutorial on how to do things like unlock a personal progress check or unlock a PPC. Here's a 4.5-minute video that will show you everything you need to do in order to unlock and assign a progress check to your class. If you prefer to kind of see this in print, I can use the navigation bar at the side. I want to go to personal progress checks. It may be a closed folder. If it's closed, open it, and you can see all of the options here. Everything from assigning this from the home page and annotations here to previewing a progress check and what all of these different buttons mean and what score scoring will look like even for free response sections. And then also navigating to the progress dashboard, we can see those as well. So I do want to kind of point out that this all exists here. And again, I can click around as I need to get information about how to navigate using the progress checks. At the same time, if you're wondering what students will see, this is the student version of the user guide. No videos here because students don't have the same functionality that teachers do, but there will be the recent additions. And if you want to see, let's say, what the progress dashboard for students looks like, I could actually come down here and I can click on that and I can see what the student version of a progress dashboard looks like so that you can adequately describe to students how they can interpret their own personal results. So it's sometimes really helpful to kind of get the student perspective about what they will see here as well. So I'm going to go back to AP Classroom, remind you that's under AP Teacher Guide to AP Classroom, AP Student Guide to AP Classroom. Please, make use of these as you might find them helpful. I am on my homepage for AP Statistics. I'm actually going to go over to Unit 5, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can assign a PPC. So you can assign a PPC in a variety of ways. You can use the progress check menu up here, or you can scroll to the bottom and you can uh, assign them or unlock them from here. Remember, one of the nice things about doing it from the home screen is that you are reminded that progress checks are really meant to be given at the end of the unit. They're situated at the bottom of this topic skill pairing list for Unit 5. And I'm also kind of reminded that the topic questions, just like the AP Daily videos, really address the topic content and skill pairing. So these topic questions will address this topic content with these skills. The progress checks are going to do the same thing. They're going to assess the topic content with the associated skills. It's just that you're going to get all of these pairings in the same assessment rather than in just individual topic questions like this. So it's important to remember that while the topic questions can be signed individually, the progress check lives together as a full form. Now, in some courses, you may see a division into parts. And all that really means is that we wanted to make the personal progress checks able to be administered in a shorter class period, like a 45-minute class period. So um, if you only see one section like this or one part like this FRQ part, it means that that part could be administered in a 45-minute class period or less. If you see that it's been divided into multiple parts, it means that all of them together uh, would have taken more than 45 minutes. So I know that I probably couldn't give all of these parts to the multiple choice if I only had a 45-minute class period. Now, if I teach on a block schedule and I have 90 minutes, 100 minutes, or longer, I might be able to assign all of these parts at once, which is totally fine. I could also assign all of the multiple choice parts and all of the FRQ parts to my students as homework and have them do them outside of class. So we have some options here in terms of how teachers use them. They don't have to be assigned in class. So let me show you what happens when I click on certain parts here. If I click on the actual wording here, MCQ Part A, what that is going to do is it's going to kind of almost sort of take me to the progress check menu, but it is going to pop out the actual assessment itself. And so I can take a quick look and preview this assessment, and I can find out how many questions are on it. I can scroll through the questions. I see right now that there are 15 questions. I can kind of jump around, see if there are different graphs. I can see, just in general, what kind of questions are being asked here. I can also use the arrows to scroll through here as well. I'll come back to the individual preview in a second, but I want to show you how else you can use this home page. If I X out of that, I'm taken back to the home page. If I had clicked on the actual padlock that you see here, what that is going to do is not give me a preview, but give me the assign settings for that particular progress check. So if I decide it doesn't matter what questions are on here, I just want to assign this to my class, or I've already previewed it at a different time, I can just click on that unlock button and adjust all of these settings in order to be able to assign them to my class. This is one way that you can assign the progress checks, and that is from the home screen. The other way is to do all of that from the progress check screen. Some teachers like to do this because they can see everything at one time. So if I click on the progress check menu, I will actually see all of the progress checks for all of my classes. Right now, it's kind of in order of like when it was completed or started. If I wanted to see it in order by assessment, I can just click on that. It will resort the column for me. And so I can see my period 1 and period 2 class have done multiple choice part A, but not multiple choice part B completely, not the FRQ. I can kind of scroll through here in order to be able to kind of see what I've assigned. If I keep scrolling here, I was on Unit 5. I can see Unit 5 has 3 multiple choice parts. I can actually click on each individual link here, and that will allow me to preview the assessment. So if I wanted to know the difference between Part A and Part B, I can kind of I can click on each one individually. I want to emphasize here that a lot of the same features that you saw when uh, if you watched our topic questions presentation exist here as well. Again, I can click here. I can see all of these questions are individual questions. They're not tied together by any stimulus, which is usual for this course. And if they were connected by the same stimulus, you would see a connector in between these bubbles up here. I can click around from question to question if I want. I can scroll through this way. I can actually get a scoring guide, and what this will do is um, uh, it will generate a PDF of all of the questions with the answers highlighted. And so if I needed an answer key for myself and a print version of that, I can generate that and keep it handy for myself. And you will see what this looks like as it loads. Um, if you have watched our topic question video, you will know that there are other options up here. Some of the options were to edit the assessment or to generate a print preview so you could print out a hard copy for students. Those things do not exist for the multiple choice progress checks for the following reasons. One, again, the progress check cannot be edited. I cannot separate these questions. These questions exist as a full form so that we can give you, and the AP Classroom system can give you data about student performance on topic skill pairings. If you had said, oh, I only need one question on this topic skill pairing, technically a student could guess, get it correct, and we don't really know that that student doesn't need additional support there. So there are usually roughly around 3 questions on every topic skill pairing for the entire unit in the progress check. And we have that many so that we can adequately kind of give you whether um, a report on student performance overall on that topic skill pairing. At the same time, the multiple choice section of the progress checks are the only things on AP Classroom that must be given online. They cannot be printed. I'll say that again. The multiple choice sections of the progress checks are the only things on AP Classroom that must be given online. They cannot be printed for students. And we do this so that both students and teachers get the results right away so that you can make those important decisions about how to shift instruction in your classroom based on student misunderstandings. We want to emphasize here that it's not just students doing more problems that or doing more answering more questions that moves the needle. It's really the shifts in your instruction that you make as a result of analyzing that data that helps move the needle in the classroom. So we want to be able to give you that data as quickly as possible, and that's why we're requiring these to be given online. Um, just like the progress checks, sorry, it's just like the topic questions. If I expand this question scoring and details panel here, we'll get information about this particular question. If there's a stimulus, what type it is, what topic and skill it is aligned to. So I can see this is 5.2 and skill 3C. We can see learning objectives and other parts of the course framework that it's aligned to, and other data as well, depending on the course that you are teaching. Uh, I will also again see the correct answer. I will see the rationale for that correct answer. I can actually click around and view the incorrect answers and their rationales as well. These are the same rationales that students will see when they get their own results from taking the personal progress checks. I can either assign the progress check from here, or I can X out of this and I can assign it from this screen directly. I'm going to scroll back down. This was Unit 5, multiple choice part A. Remember, I clicked on this link to actually get a preview. I can either unlock from here, or I can unlock from here. I can see I can also preview from here if I wanted to. I'm just going to click the locked button, and it is going to bring up this particular screen. As you can see right now, it's not actually open, so I can't actually manage anything here because this is not eligible for students to see yet. So I can either go back and use a different button, or I can literally just update settings here, and I can say, hey, I want to I'm going to do this for period 1. It is online. And remember, I can't actually change this to print because multiple choice sections for progress checks must be given online so we can get you that data as quickly as possible. I want my students to see their scores immediately as soon as they hit submit. I'm going to select the current date and time to open this. I'm not going to put a due date. I'm not going to put a timer. As a reminder, the timer is for instructional and coaching use only. Um, if you set a time limit, students will be notified when the time is up that they need to submit, but they can continue to work past that time. And this is to support students who have extended time accommodations. If you do want to lock students out of assessment at a particular date and time, you would need to specify that date and time at the due date window here, and then students will no longer be able to access the assessment after that date and time have passed. You can see I made some changes here, and it will ask me, do I want to update this for period 1, or do I want to update this for all my classes? And maybe I want it to be assigned to all of my classes, and so I can click there. And you can now see I can toggle in between my two sections if I want to. But now I know that this is open and I can actually manage this live test session. So I can click manage live test session here, and I will see whether my students have started, whether they're in progress, whether they've submitted. I'm not surprised to see them all as not started right now because, well, I just assigned it. But as students make their way through, it will tell me if they are in progress, if they've submitted. It will actually even tell me what item they are currently on and whether or not they are active in front of their computer, which is super helpful. Um, I can pause time for all the students. I can resume time for all the students, and I can extend time for either my entire class or for individual students, especially those students who have extended time accommodations on their 504 plans or IEPs. We find that most teachers who use the pause and resume here would do so in a face-to-face setting, if there were a fire drill or an announcement or some other type of class interruption, and you don't want the time to count against students. I'm going to X out of this. I'm taken back to the assessment progress page. You can see right now I have 15 students in this class. None of them have started. In real life, your students are actually going to work on the assessment and then submit when they are finished. I have a fictitious section with fictitious students. So I'm going to create fictitious data for them. I'm going to say 14 of these students have completed their uh, their personal progress check for Unit 5, Part A, multiple choice. And again, just remember, you won't have that red button. Again, that red button is for generating fake data. So we're going to kind of fast forward the part where your students would have actually taken this progress check, so you can see what happens to this screen. So you can see right now 14 students have taken this assessment, one student has not. I can see that it's been automatically scored because it's multiple choice. I can see the date and time in which students submitted it. Mine are all the same because I generated fake data at the same time, but yours will actually be different. So you can actually see how long students took to do the assessment. I can provide individual feedback to specific students. So if I want to give Jenny Barnes some words of encouragement, I can actually click here, or I want her to focus on something specific. I can actually type that in the box right here, and that feedback would go only to Jenny Barnes. If I scroll down, I can see Carolyn Walter is my one student who hasn't completed this assessment. But let's say at this point, enough students have finished that I want to look at their results. So I'm going to go over to my results panel here. And this results panel is going to give me results for every progress check that I've given students so far. And so you can see I have all different progress checks for all of my classes. Let's say I only want to look at period 1 right now. I can change this filter. It will only give me period 1. I can see this one that they took, the latest is at the top, and then I can see my overall student performance. If you actually used AP Classroom last year, you can actually go back and look at data from a different, from last year as well. So I'll just show you, I'm not sure what I have here. This is going to be a surprise. So you can, oh, we have stuff. So you can actually see that in general, I see a lot more green here than what I saw, what I'm seeing this year so far. And maybe I chalk that up to a really tough year all around, but I know off the cusp that because I'm seeing a lot more yellow here, my performance results are not as great this year with students as they were the previous year. Um, I can click on this student performance bar and I can see, because of the yellow, I don't have any students who are performing in the top 25% ranges. And then I can actually look here and I can see I have 5 students scoring in the 25 to 49% range. that matches with this 5 here. I have 9 students scoring from 0 to 25%. That matches with the 9 here. And then here's Carolyn Walter, who hasn't taken the assessment yet. I can also see that those individual scores are, and it looks like the best any of my students did was Margaret Freitas here, who scored 6 out of 15. I can look at individual students, or maybe I decide that I want to get more of a class idea of patterns of any type, and I can click on the progress check itself. And just like topic questions results, you can get results by questions, you can get results by student, but there's this individual screen now on topics and skills. And remember, I said earlier on that every topic skill pairing has roughly 3 questions a piece here. And so I can actually see what the class average is in general for that topic skill pairing. Right now, this is sorted by topic, but I can also sort it by skill. And if I sort it by skill, it'll be interesting to see if there's any differences. So like in this particular case, had there been a real difference between the performance level here on a class-wide basis, I may say that that could be because, I don't know, students found the central limit theorem to be more difficult content than the normal distribution, because they apply the same skill. If I wanted to know more about this, because remember, this is a class average. I can click here and I can actually see how students performed on this, to see if there was any, I could see right off the bat that they did worse on question 6 than anything else, but these are the 3 questions that address this topic skill pairing. I could go and visit that question directly from here. I can also look here and see what the issue is there. And I can actually see in general, even though the average for um, these 2 topic skill pairings is about the same. It's a whole number. It's been rounded. It's actually a little bit higher for this topic skill pairing, because I could just tell by performance here that students did not do as well. Only 2 students got question 7 correct. Only 2 students got question 8 correct. Only 2 students, only 2 students got question 9 correct. So I can jump to there too. And it also tells me where the other like skill pairings come up. So 3B, we didn't do so great on this topic skill pairing, but this is going to come up again on part B with 5.5 and 3B and 5.6 and 3B. And then it will come up again on the progress check part C with 5.7 3B and 5.8 3B. So I may want to see how those students perform on those other areas of those progress checks before I make a determination about their ability to handle skill 3B. So these are all things that I can determine as I'm having these conversations and looking at my data. I can then go to, I'm going to concentrate on this down here. I'm going to go to questions. And I think that we saw that, let's see, let me go back one second. We were looking at the central limit theorem, I think, questions, and these were questions 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so I can go here and I can look at 7, 8, and 9, and we can see again, only 2 students got each one correct. Let's say I want to go into question 7. I, the red here will tell you how many, which students got the question incorrect, which students got it correct. Whereas the yellow bar tells you performance on the whole entire assessment. This will tell you performance by question. I can click here and I can go in and I can see some of the same data that I saw on topic questions. So I'm going to get the question itself. I will get the skill that it's aligned to. I know that it's aligned to topic 5.3 as well. I can see the answer choices. And one of the things that's really nice about this is that now I can see not just that 12 students answered the question incorrectly, but I can see how many students and which students chose each individual distractor. So one of the things that I may want to look at here is that the overwhelming majority of students who answered this question incorrectly picked choice A or choice D. So maybe I want to highlight choice D, and I want to I want to read the rationale, because that might give me some sort of inkling as to why students picked this particular answer. Like, why did they think that this was the correct answer? Likewise, I can do that with A, and I can read why students might have thought this was the correct answer. And so, if I'm really looking to make the most of the time that I have with students, because these are the two questions that seem to have the most uh, students picking that those answer choices, maybe that's where I want to focus my time. Likewise, if I scroll to the next question, which I knew was related because it comes up in this related questions on the quiz, I can see again how many students picked an incorrect answer. And this is another case where, even though this was an incorrect response, this is the one that most students who answered incorrectly picked. And so maybe there is a misunderstanding here that I can help address that will cause these students not to make this mistake again in the future. And if I go over another one, maybe it's D, because I just have one student that picked C and one student that picked E. And maybe those are individual conversations, or I mention that much more in passing, and I spend more of my time about why A and D are not the right response. Also, if because the performance on these related questions were so similar and also not great, one of the things that I might want to do, and students will see this on their end as well, is they may want to watch these related AP Daily videos. So if you're actually not using AP Daily videos to teach content on the front end, you can use them as a way to help remediate or reteach if students are not performing as well as you'd like them to on the personal progress checks, so that they can go back and hear a different teacher and a different perspective on the course content and skill from that particular topic skill pairing. Again, likewise, you can expand the question scoring here panel, and you can get that helpful information about that particular question. And just like with topic questions, you have the student grid view here. It will help me kind of isolate which questions I may want to go over. Certain times it's helpful to kind of see what students are doing. Like, here's a particular case where um, uh, only two students got this right, but only one student chose answer choice E. And maybe I don't spend as much time going over why E is not the answer, because it seems to me like a lot of students who answered this incorrectly chose A or D. And maybe that's where I focus my attention. So a lot of these results are meant to help you kind of make sense of what students are doing. You can also look at a particular student's individual results and answer choices as relative to their overall performance, how long they took to do the assessment. If Helen really just kind of went through and was like A D D D D, and really only spent 5 minutes doing this, it may explain why all of her answer choices are incorrect, versus a student who may have taken a full amount of time and is still answering questions incorrectly. So this can kind of help you really isolate how to address individual student needs, but then also class needs as well. I'm going to go over to the progress dashboard. And if you remember from the beginning part of our presentation, we mentioned that the progress dashboard is meant to show kind of longitudinal progress across all the units in a course. And so I'm going to run this for both of my sections for the 2020-2021 school year. And what you'll see right here is my period 1 class has taken through unit 5, multiple choice section of the progress checks, and period 2 has taken through unit 4. I do want to point out that where you see this asterisk, it means that there are multiple parts. So we saw that in unit 5, my students in period 1 only only took part A, and there was a part A, B, and C. So I'm not surprised to see that the average score is only 2 out of 39 because, well, they've only taken a certain number of points so far. So all of these together will make up the 39 points, and that's why the average is so low here. So I won't really get a good, accurate reading here until students have taken all the parts, and I can actually go to that part if I want to and get the individual results, just like we were just looking at with part A. Let me go back to this progress dashboard really quickly, and let me reload that. And whereas I can see here, this is 13 out of 36. This had 2 parts and my students took both parts. So I know that this is an accurate representation of the full performance for um, the entire um, personal progress check. So if you see the asterisk, it just means that there are multiple parts. If you don't, it means it was one part and it's fully accurate of the possible number of total points. So we can see here, I'm in the yellow, but what I as a, on a whole as a class, I can expand this and I can actually see there are some bright spots where students are performing a little bit better. And it's a tough year, and so maybe that's reflective of why I'm seeing so much yellow here. But what can help me is figuring out, like, are there patterns that I can kind of uncover? I can actually see for Unit 4 the majority, my entire class is in the yellow here. And so I want to make sure that I'm going back and I'm looking what skills are being taught in Unit 4, and what can I do when I'm teaching those same skills in subsequent units to make sure students are getting adequate practice. Can I somehow tie back to what they're learning in Unit 4? When can I make these touch points? Do I need to reassign AP daily videos to help them catch up on any content that they may have missed for Unit 4, etc.? Um, you can kind of click this participation button. It will tell you how many students have taken this. So sometimes, you may have only had 5 students take it and your average is really high, and it's because your 5 best students took the personal progress check. As you can see here, I have 15 students in my period 1 class, and for the most part, the students who have taken it is almost reflective of my entire class. If I had assigned free response questions, which I haven't yet, they will come up separately here and you will see those results here as well. If I go back over to multiple choice, I do want to point out that this export details option does allow you to export this information into a comma separated value CSV file, which can be opened in Excel, which can give you more data that is more able to be manipulated. So if you are, let's say, not the only AP statistics teacher in your school, or you are not the only AP Stats teacher in your district, and you're doing some sort of like departmental planning or team planning, you have a PLC, something like this, it might be easier to share data in this particular type of way, so that you can maybe develop a plan of action that would work across all of your courses and kind of, figure out if you're doing common planning, what that would look like in order to address student misunderstandings. You'll see here it has the unit, the part, so you can see this is Unit 1 Part A, then we get into Unit 1 Part B, then Unit 2 Part A, etc. Points earned out of point possible, and there is a percent correct. That percent correct is not going to exist on the dashboard itself. It's something that teachers have asked for that we wanted to provide, but I do want to do a PSA here and say that this percentage correct should not be factored into students' overall course grades. The personal progress checks are meant to be formative assessments and therefore are meant to really be used as an instructional and learning tool rather than an assessment uh, evaluated for accuracy. So we hope that students are learning where they need to uh, refocus their learning here, and it's helping you figure out where to provide additional supports rather than having these percentages averaged into students' overall course grades. Okay, so with that, I think that we are just about at our end of our discussion on progress checks and the progress dashboard. Hopefully, you've learned something that can be of use to you as you continue through your course year. We know that 2020, 2021 has been particularly challenging for teachers and students. So we want to say thank you for all you're doing to support your students during this tough time. Thank you for all you do in support of AP. And we hope that you and your loved ones are staying safe and well. And until next time, and we hope you will join us for other presentations and learn more about additional AP instructional resources. We want to say thank you very much, and here's wishing you and your students all the best for a successful remainder of the school year. Bye-bye.